All right, we are interrupting programming here to bring you the dignified transfer of 30-year-old Kevin Trainor, a state police trooper who was killed in the line of duty this morning by a wrong-way driver on Route 1.
That's right. It happened again around 2 o'clock this morning. You're watching it right now. We can tell you state troopers, firefighters, they're all lined up for this procession route from Mass General Hospital, where Trooper Trainor later died after that crash, and be heading to the medical examiner's office in the south end, right there on Albany Street. Again, this all happened around 2 o'clock this morning in Linfield. You can see there as they are getting closer to that area. There they are, those troopers lined up, paying their respects for this tragedy. Yeah,
so you can see the convoy. It's entering the O'Neill Tunnel southbound. We do expect that traffic on 93 South will come to a standstill as they make their way from Mass General, which is right off Storrow Drive there, in the vicinity, kind of the Charles Street, just behind the TD Garden, kind of the West End area there. They're going to make their way south through the 93 tunnel and then come out the south side here as they make their way to the south end. The ME's office, the medical examiner's office, is on Albany Street, and there you have the stopped traffic on the Zachem Bunker Hill Bridge there. Again, traffic has come to a standstill on 93 South so they can move the body of 30-year-old Kevin Trainor. We know from the state police that he was engaged. He was due to be married in a few months' time. He is survived by his fiancée. He's also survived by several siblings and his mother, 4 siblings and his mother.
Yeah, we did get a press conference around 11:30. We did hear from Governor Maura Healey, the state police colonel Jeffrey Noble, and the State Police Association of Massachusetts president Brian Williams, and they gave us the tragic update about what happened around 2 o'clock this morning when this collision happened there in Linfield. We know that this was right at the time that he was heading home from work. His shift just ended at 2 o'clock, and at 2:01, 1 minute later, there was a call of a wrong-way driver, and he responded, and that's when that collision happened. And sadly, he died from that collision later at Mass General Hospital. That 1 minute, we heard from Colonel Noble talking about how Trooper Trainor is a hero. He'll be remembered as a hero. He saved lives this morning as that happened there, because more crashes could have happened down the road, injuring more people, or even, leaving more people to have died. They're remembering him as a hero. They also talked about that he was only a trooper for 3 years. Before that, he was a corrections officer starting his career there in Essex County. He was also a field training officer teaching others, and really known as someone that you wanted as your backup. That's what we heard from Colonel Noble earlier today, talking about his colleagues and how they saw Trooper Trainor. Also, the governor expressing her deepest condolences, her sympathies to the family members of Trooper Trainor, his fiancée, and of course, all of his brothers and sisters in the field, in the state troopers there, thanking law enforcement also who responded to this incident that happened at 2 o'clock this morning.
So you can also see in the video you've got on the screen there, that gray Jeep. The driver of that wrong-way Jeep also died. The collision between the two vehicles, very violent. In his 3 years at the state police, we know he had become a trooper coach, so passing along what he had learned in that time frame to others, and working with other younger troopers to mentor them. Sarah Kanji is also standing by. She's at Mass General. The helicopter, Sarah, has moved to the south end of the O'Neill tunnels. We expect them to emerge momentarily. We'll keep you updated. But Sarah, what have you seen from your vantage point?
Well, we are right at the exit at Mass General Hospital, where Trooper Trainor was in the medical examiner's van leaving the hospital as that procession began. There were many state police troopers and officers who were here, and they had been here for most of the morning waiting for this procession to begin. And as soon as it did, traffic on Storrow Drive was stopped. And if you know this area, it is so noisy. There's so much traffic. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic with the hospital right here, but it all came to a standstill as that medical examiner's van left the hospital with Trooper Trainor. Many of the state police troopers and the officers as well just stopping and saluting and taking a moment to pay their respects as that procession got underway here along Storrow Drive. And Also, we've just been chatting and learning more about this community action team that he was a part of, the CAT team as it's called. And we learned that this was really the best of the field, that many of the people who serve on that team are hand selected. So that just gives you a sense of the credentials of Trooper Trainor's background, his reputation, even just after 3 years with the state police. So again, this procession here at this vantage point was very brief, just leaving the hospital very quickly with the medical examiner's van, but the area, which is normally so busy with just Boston life and Boston with the hospital right here, just came to a standstill, and even some of those pedestrians also stopping to take a moment and share their condolences. Back to you guys in the studio.
Our thanks to Sarah Kanji for relaying her vantage point as we watch. That is the medical examiner's van carrying the body of 30-year-old Massachusetts State Police Trooper Kevin Trainor to the medical examiner's office. They are exiting now onto Albany Street. The ME's Boston office is on Albany Street. We also have a camera on the ground at the office. His body will go there for examination before eventually being released to the family and the funeral home. We are still awaiting further details when it comes to final arrangements.
Yeah, so as we continue to watch this dignified transfer happen here to the south end on Albany Street, a reminder here that, you know, Trooper Trainor works out of the Danvers Barracks. A lot of his colleagues there lined up for that procession. They have been going to and from Mass General Hospital throughout the morning following this crash, and many of them, of course, responding to that crash as well. You know, one word we kept hearing from State Police Colonel Jeffrey Noble in regards to Trooper Trainor, they kept talking about his enthusiasm for public safety, that he really had this enthusiasm. People loved to work with him. He really wanted to work for the public, and saying that, you know, what this moment and this sad, tragic update and the fact that he died in the line of duty, they're saying that, you know, he is a hero and he will be remembered for saving others. And that's really what he's known for, that he's always helping others. He's always trying to do his best to work for the public. And sadly, this is where we are today. And of course, this procession, you know, this will be underway for quite some time until we get to the medical examiner's office. We see them lined up, getting ready to say their goodbyes.
Yeah, they're nearing that location there. The medical examiner's office is kind of adjacent to the campus of Boston Medical Center. So from one hospital to another as they make the turn here, they are nearing the medical examiner's office. And, you know, State Police really lauding Trooper Trainor this morning, saying his actions in responding to that call to try to stop that driver, that wrong-way driver that was traveling south in the northbound lanes, really saved lives there on Route 1, because who knows how many other drivers may have had a collision with that vehicle had the trooper not placed his vehicle in the path of that wrong-way Jeep. Again, that wrong-way driver also died. They were pronounced dead at the scene this morning. The trooper was rushed to Mass General with hopes that he could survive, but that was not the case, and he died later this morning. And the governor lauding his service. Again, there's the salute from the firefighters who are lining the street there as the medical examiner's van, this procession, this state police procession, has arrived. The trooper being escorted by his co-workers, his colleagues from the Danvers Police Barracks, doing this unhappy duty here, of course, having to transfer this body to the medical examiner's office.
A difficult day, especially for police, you know, fire, state police. You heard the governor mention earlier, you know, find a police officer, find a trooper, give them a hug, and take the time to express gratitude to them. She said, do that for Trooper Trainor, because, you know, this is the worst that can happen right on the job. And
it's the ultimate sacrifice, right? He sacrificed himself.
Absolutely. And you see it make that turn there as they getting ready to get right there to the medical examiner's office. It's really a somber day for these, you know, public service heroes.
Yeah, for police, the men and women in blue, all across the state, the region, and the country. When the funeral does occur, you will inevitably see police officers from all across the country attend as a way to show their respect and their solidarity. As the medical examiner's van has now arrived, being saluted in the South End at the medical examiner's office.
We'll continue to follow this, of course. We'll have much more coverage coming up later on News Center 5 at 4. Well, we can see the van has just now arrived at the medical examiner's office as they're getting ready to bring Trooper Trainor's body inside for examination following this collision that happened at 2 o'clock this morning, just 1 minute. We heard Colonel Noble say it happened in the blink of an eye, 1 minute after he was supposed to be off the clock and head home. Just 1 minute is when this collision happened. A wrong-way driver in Linfield on Route 1 slamming into him. We saw those images earlier of that crash and how bad it looked. The driver did die, and now we've learned, Trooper Trainor was taken to Mass General Hospital and later died of his injuries, now arriving at the medical examiner's office in the South End on Albany Street.
We're going to keep watching this for a moment longer here as we have watched. There is the flag-draped coffin arriving at the medical examiner's office in the South End of Boston, escorted by his fellow troopers with the Danvers Barracks. One more salute there.